Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio today, Curt Homann, Executive Director of the DeWitt County Development Council. Good morning, Kurt.
Good morning, Seth.
Thanks for coming out and talking with us today. And the DCDC, gosh, it feels like every time you come out here, there's something to talk about. And today, a new cycle of grant opportunities. Let's dive into that to get us started here.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, we always have a lot to talk about. And the great news is there's always a lot I can't talk about that's going on as well. So, but those will come up down the road, I promise. So, but the good news, yes, we are in the midst of a new grant cycle. Our application, I think we mentioned an application deadline of April 18th. But looking at the calendar, I see that's Good Friday. So we're actually going to extend that to April 21st will be our application deadline. We do have a few in already, and look forward to getting some more, and I'm sure that we will.
You should just make it the 22nd and have it fall on Earth Day.
Well, you have to put a stopping point somewhere.
Every day's something, right?
And I promise you, I know there's a lot of people like me. Whatever date that it is, that's the date they get turned in. So
gotcha.
It's just a lot of times they all come in that last 1 or 2 days. But this cycle we have $10,000 that we're glad to be able to distribute. Most often those get distributed to multiple businesses, and we want to see what businesses are doing, and we want to help out. If we can, for sure.
Anything about this grant cycle unique? Looking for anything specific or things like that?
It's not. So pretty similar to grant cycles before. The judges always like projects that are going to improve the business in some way, help them sell more, help them be more efficient. The funds cannot be used for operating expenses. So, you can't say, hey, I want to pay my liability insurance ahead for a year. We don't look at those things, but equipment's good, marketing's good. Construction, we've seen those types of projects as well. So
Gotcha.
Anything that's going to make the business sell more is what we're interested, or operate more efficiently, or hire someone new, or something along those lines.
Gotcha.
That's what we're looking for.
Now, I know we have talked about this in the past, but let's just speak to what should go into that application for that grant. What should it look like? What should these business owners be including? How detailed should they be? How about some of those things?
Yeah, so a couple things. And first of all, I do want to tell people where to get the application. It is on our website. We've talked before. Our website is in the process of a remodel. And in the process of that new website coming out, we lost our ability to change the old website. So we probably will release that new one in the next couple weeks. But in the meantime, there is a grant application that is on our website, and it has the last cycle date of last year. It is the exact application, and that's the one that needs to be used. Even though it has a September or October deadline, whatever that was from last year, people need to go in there and click on that and get to it. But in the application, it asks for some detailed information, certainly detailed information on the project. That's by far the most important thing. And then we do also ask for some financial documentation. Essentially, we need to make sure that business is going to be, around in the short term. Short to midterm.
Yeah, sure.
So we don't want to grant a business some money and 6 months later they're not operational. So there's some financial requirements as well. But the primary thing that we need to see is what they're going to use the money for and how that's positively going to affect their business.
Okay. So a business makes that application. They submit it on the 21st or before that, however that works out for them. What happens next? What's the timeline of events?
Yep. So ultimately, I compile them. I make sure we got everything that we need, and then we call our businesses back for about 5 or 6 of those. So depending on how many we get, if we get 30, we're narrowing it down to 5 or 6. If we get 6, most likely we're going to bring all 6 in. But they come in for an in-person pitch, an in-person presentation to our judge panel. And
is that date set yet?
We are looking at May 1st, but that is not 100% set in stone.
Okay.
And
we'll say early May.
Early May. And there's, if a business gets called in, that there's no guarantee that they get any money. It's really the businesses that get called in make the presentation, and that helps the judges differentiate between $0 and $10,000 how much that business is going to be awarded.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
So there is an in-person presentation. It's pretty short. It's pretty painless. For people that are worried about it, don't be. We make it very painless. We just want to know what's going on with the project.
If a business has received DCDC funding in the past, are they eligible to apply for this grant?
They are. It doesn't automatically exclude. It does not automatically exclude the business, so they are eligible to reapply for sure. So obviously, it needs to be a different project, and they'll have to justify it. I mean, I think after a while, the judging panel remembers, hey, we've awarded this company a couple times before, so they sometimes it's good to have a little break in between, but yes, they are eligible.
Sure. So this might be a silly question. Do you encourage business owners to ask for exactly what they need or want? Do you encourage them to say, if your project is $7,000, ask for $5,000, and we'll see where we can get you to that point? Or how do you encourage them to ask for funds?
So I want them to tell us what the project is. So and typically it needs to fit within that. If the maximum dollars we have to give out is $10,000, it probably needs to fit somewhere in that range. Now that being said, if there's a $20,000 project and the business says, hey, we've got $15,000 of this set aside for this project, we're $5,000 short in completing it. I mean, that's totally a different scenario.
Sure.
But if someone really is doing if they have a $7,500 project, really, I just want to know what that project amount is. If it's close to that $10,000 range, it's probably a good idea to suggest that, hey, I can cover, I'm able to cover a partial amount of this, because otherwise, when it comes time for the judges to distribute monies, if the request is $10,000 and there's no additional funds, and they want to distribute that between three different businesses, if the money isn't there to complete the project, it's critical that the project is completed.
Sure.
So that has to get accomplished. So we want to know what the project is and the total amount, and then if it's a larger amount, we certainly need to know if there's other funds available.
Got it. Curt Homann, Executive Director of the DeWitt County Development Council, our guest in studio, talking the DCDC's latest grant cycle that is due the 21st. That is the day after Easter Sunday, for a $10,000 in grants money available. Now, is there a size of the business limitation in terms of employees or their facility needs or things like that?
There's not. So we describe it as a small business grant. The definition of small business is certainly up in the air. If it's a multi-million dollar corporation that applies for $2,500, we would be somewhat disappointed, by that. But we've never defined small business, and at this point we've not had any issues in terms of they're meeting those requirements for a small business.
Sure.
And most of the businesses in DeWitt County are classified as small. Not all, but most.
Now, if a business has applied before and they come in for this, you talked about this in-person pitch that they will make. Will the judging panel be the same for that pitch?
I vary it up a little bit, so I like to have part of the judging panel have done it before, and then I like to have some new people that come in as well. It just gives different perspectives, different ideas, and different thoughts. So sometimes one panel decides, we only want to go on an equipment scenario, and another panel will look at it differently. So I like to mix it up a little bit so we don't inadvertently become very narrow focused with the project. So
do you mind reminding us where money for grant cycles comes from?
No, thank you very much for that. So it really this particular one comes out of our our general funds. And as a reminder, we get funds from business donors in the county. And outside, even outside the county, we also get funds from DeWitt County Board, and so our funds come out of those general. So we set these aside in the budgets. We have some other grant cycles where they come from other sources, but these 10,000 solely will come out of our budget.
Got it. What did I miss in that conversation?
I think you did great, and I know we've talked grants before, and it's one of our. It's one of our most popular projects. Who doesn't love, free money? And but from our perspective, it really, incentivizes businesses doing a couple of really positive things. One is growing their business, and the second is planning. So if you're planning for growth, even if you don't receive a grant from us, it does put that seed in businesses' minds that, hey, I can do this, and really step up my sales, my profitability, those things, whether they get a grant or not. So I think it's a huge accomplishment.
Is this the first grant cycle of the year for you all?
It is the first grant cycle of the year, yes. We'll do another one later in the year, probably September-ish, somewhere in that range.
Got it. Will it be 10,000 again? Or?
We're not sure. We never know from period to period. It'll be at least 10,000. It may be 15. But typically it's in that 10 to 15 range.
Do you hear back from businesses ever, or like just kind of keep track from afar, whether it's social media or something like that, how the investment the DCDC made has paid off for that business?
We do. We follow. We do follow the business activity, and I always follow to make sure the project happens. But really, once a business has received a grant, it's they're kind of tied to us, and in a positive way. I mean, they want to share information with us, and we want to follow up to see how they're doing and offer encouragement and those things. But we don't ask for sales increases. We don't ask for any of those details.
Right,
but you can tell the businesses that have received grants are as a rule are doing well, and I think part of it is the planning cycle of that, and then part of it is the fact that we did help them with something that made their business better. Yeah.
So speaking of follow-up, and I apologize, I'm kind of jumping around.
No, you're
here.
good.
So when like, let's say the awarded $10,000 has been announced, right? What happens? Does the business have to fulfill that project and then they get reimbursed by the DCDC? Do you just give them that money up front so they can get to the finish line? How does that work?
No, we do ask. So if we reimburse that project. So that being said, if there is we've worked with businesses that, cash flow maybe at the time was an issue. So we've worked with businesses to either pay an invoice directly or reimburse. We have the check ready to reimburse at the second. They may put the purchase on a credit card and then we reimburse it the next day or something like that. So, but it is a reimbursement because we do want to make sure the project gets completed. Got for it. Sure.
Again, where do folks find that application?
Go to our website, dcdc-illinois.net, and or just Google DCDC, DeWitt County Development Council, and also follow us on Facebook. Sure.
Very good. Easy enough. Curt Homann, Executive Director of the DeWitt County Development Council, our guest in studio. More to come with Curt on the morning show.
WHOW.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet service for home or business includes unlimited data, unlimited streaming, and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4 lease with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
Shane here from Highway 51 Exchange, just south of Clinton. Let us service your lawn and garden equipment for spring with our quick turnaround and service specials for free pickup and delivery. Click our icon on DeWittDailyNews.com for details.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Now you can listen to WHOW on any Amazon Alexa-enabled device. There are 3 easy steps. Step 1.
Download the free Alexa app by going to the App Store on your mobile device.
Step 2. Enable our skill by going to the menu, select Skills, then find WHOW, open the skill.
Step 3. Activate the skill by saying, Alexa, play WHOW radio.
That's all there is to it.
And to stop the WHOW stream, just say, Alexa, stop.
WHOW, now on the Amazon Alexa app.
WHOW is Central Illinois' ag station, and that includes providing farmers information on how the commodity markets close each day and week. I'm Todd Gleason from Illinois Public Media, University of Illinois Extension, inviting you to hear the daily closing market report weekday afternoons at 5:06, and on Saturdays tune in for Commodity Week with a review of the week's markets at 8:30 in the morning, all on WHOW AM, FM, and streamed online.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio, Curt Homann, DCDC Executive Director, with us. And so, Curt, so grant cycle is kind of wrapped up. What else has been on your plate? I mean, I feel like it's a full plate and then some. So what else is going on?
So interestingly, we watched, or I watched with interest, of course, the mayoral election here in Clinton, and there was a city council election in Farmer City as well. And both of the, Clinton, of course, highly contested, mayoral spot with 6 candidates. Farmer City, had not as many, but it was an election where the vote mattered. And I just want to, a quick shout out on that. I mean, I think it's fantastic when you have people that want to take an interest in your local government. And I think that, regardless of who wins or doesn't win or those types of things, I mean, just to see that that local willingness to make a difference in your community is fantastic.
How much does having a good mayor in your communities in DeWitt County matter?
Oh, I think it matters a lot. I think a mayoral individual, the mayor is important, and I, city manager, city administrator is extraordinarily important as well. So Clinton's unique with its form of government, really from most other forms of government, but it's very unique in the regard, that each individual, council person or commissioner, all of those matter significantly here in Clinton. You look at Farmer City or other areas that, all matter. There's no doubt about it. But the mayor and the city administrator become much more important in those areas.
Sure. Anything else been keeping you busy lately?
Well, a couple of health things going on, but
Are we
there.
all right? Yeah.
Absolutely. But for the most part, we've a lot wrapping up with Quickwall. We want to make sure they're off to a good start.
It sounds like they are.
They are. They're doing some work with the building, and they're anxious to get employees here in Clinton and in the facility working, which is exciting. And then really, it's all the normal things that we do. So there's a couple of state grants that are going on. I've been helping one particular applicant just a little bit with their grant application, and just keep focusing on helping business day to day that we can. I mean, that's the primary function of what we do.
Yeah. So you mentioned at the top with us, a lot goes on behind the scenes. Without teasing specifically what's going on, what can you tell us about the remaining? What is this? January, February, March, April, the next 7, 8 months. Yeah. What can you tell us about what's to come?
It's really interesting to me that there's stuff I'm working on that I've been working on for a couple of years, and I actually think they'll come about. I just don't know how quickly. Others, you sort of get in contact with them, and they're further along in their decision process, and they fall into place. So we will see. There will be some new businesses in DeWitt County. Very excited about that.
And we've seen a new one in the downtown square in the last week.
We have, absolutely. New business downtown. The downtown looks great. We've got a couple of, we've got Illinois Rowing coming up next weekend with their Collegiate Invitational. A lot of the spring and summer activities that are maybe tourist related. And those are all great, great business factors for the county as well. But new business development is always fantastic, but just an increase in an existing business is critical as well. So
remind us about that rowing competition. That's a big deal.
It is. So, Illinois Rowing, the University of Illinois, they will have 16 to 20 collegiate men's rowing teams, and then 16 to 20 collegiate women's rowing teams that will be here on I believe it's the 19th. Wow. And so that's always a fun event, and it's just great to have the extra traffic that comes into the county, and something associated with the University of Illinois is really cool also.
Yeah, no doubt.
If I can use that word, cool.
Yeah, well, absolutely, it's cool for sure. So that's on the 19th, you said?
It is.
Yeah,
yes.
That's awesome. About how many people come in for that?
There's several hundred. I know the parking. There's not enough parking at the access point, so they bus folks in from Blue Ridge High School with buses that run all day, every 15 minutes out to the lake, and it's 800 or 900. I would estimate. And I go out there. I can't stay out there all day. Rowing is it's a lot different than watching basketball for sure, but that being said, it's still a great event, and I would encourage anyone that wants to see what it's all about. It's at the Liberty Road access point.
Very good. Well, Curt, again, where do folks go for all things DCDC?
Follow us on Facebook. Reach out anytime via phone 217-935-5271.
Curt Homann, Executive Director of the DeWitt County Development Council, in studio with us. Network News comes your way now.
WHOW.
With SRN News.